100 hours. Whoa, that is like 4 freaking days, plus some. I mean, maybe people had a point when they told me that I had no life. Only joking, only joking. There are people out there with like tens of thousands of hours on games like World of Warcraft or CSGO. But to the point of today's video, and that is the fact that I have, if you haven't guessed already, 100 hours in Starfield, and I plan to spend many, many more. You've probably seen my previous Starfield videos if you're here, and I won't go too far into rehashing the past, but I will just say now that I thought the game was meh at first. Then, after some more playtime, I switched over to I love it, but now that we're here, 100 hours later, have any of my thoughts changed? Well, that's what I want to get into with today's video, but intros aside, let's get into my first 100 hours in Starfield. So hopping right into my first topic that I want to get into, and it's probably the shortest, but I just want to brush past a quick joke that I made at the beginning of this video, along with being an all-around big point of today. And that is the fact that 100 hours is actually not a whole lot, especially when it comes to games like this, with so much to see and so freaking much to do. I mean, for me, in GTA 5 alone, across all the platforms to be fair, I have an all-around 1,200 hours, or 50 full days. So yeah, I know 100 hours might not be all that much to some people, but in my opinion, after around 100 hours, it is nearly impossible to not have a definitive opinion on really any game. Though I'm not saying that it should take 100 hours just to get the gist of a game, nor am I saying you should know everything about a game within 100 hours of playing either. I just feel like I, at least, have made my final decision after 100 short hours in Starfield, along with 100 being a pretty good milestone to talk about how I feel the game is after that amount of time. Before we get into things though, I want to say really quick that if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, don't forget to hit it with a like and hit that subscribe button now. Right to it though. As I was saying before, I don't want to go harping on the past, but I do want to bring in some insight on the Starfield videos that I've already released. For the first good few hours of playing, like 10 or 20, I thought that I didn't really enjoy myself and my time playing, though I believe and have come to the conclusion that there was some personal bias causing me to not want to enjoy the game. Then after releasing that first video and getting up to my 60th hour, I was honestly loving the game, causing me to release another video focusing on my change of heart, which I bet a lot of you saw. But now, 40 hours after that video, have my thoughts changed at all? Kind of, but honestly, not all that much. I still think that the game is absolutely great, with updates coming in the future to make it even better. Really, my mind has changed in the sense of how I believe this game should be played. I brushed on role-playing a bit before and everything that helps the RPG game's aspects, but I honestly don't think this game should be played without the role-playing. Like, I'm one of those people who always roleplays in games, making a character backstory up, and playing the way I feel they would act, usually going as far as even playing survival type modes or mods in games that have them, especially Skyrim and Fallout. I honestly hope something like that is put into this game at some point in the future, whether it's an update or a mod. What am I saying? There's probably already a mod for it. But with all of the food and drink you can buy, find, make, grow, I don't want to have the option to eat and drink, I want to have to eat and drink. Along with all of that, for example, I love finding ways around fast traveling. I actually run back to my ship, take off, use the in-flight travel system to get where I need to go, or even just use the navigational table as there's still a little bit of immersion there. I like to think that it has a Skyrim carriage aspect to it. But yeah, role-playing is a must-do when playing this game, and I actually really wanted to bring this up because I got quite a few comments and I've seen quite a few things that say Starfield did not have good role-playing. But in my opinion, Starfield is by far and has some of the strongest role-playing aspects of any recent Bethesda game, and I'm ready to argue that, but as they say, to each their own. I won't go on about that any longer and will move on to what I accomplished in my 100 hours of playing. So I actually accomplished quite a bit, to be honest. Not that there isn't much more to do, because really, there is. But my character can already say quite a bit and has quite the space resume. The first thing I did was actually put a job application into Raijun Industries right as I landed in New Atlantis for the first time. Followed up on that prospect, did my corpo duties, and eventually became a senior operative of an entire company. Next thing I did was went ahead and stole a cup off a desk, by accident, sending me right to jail. All of a sudden, next thing I know, System Defense is telling me to go undercover and infiltrate a whole sect of space pirates, the Crimson Fleet. But after being on a short leash a little bit too long, I said, screw you, System Defense, I'm getting rich and joining the Shanty Singers. Eventually robbing an abandoned credit transport, making a whopping 250 credit cut. And in the process getting to keep a key to unlock more hidden Gao Bank credit chests. Following this, I kinda wanted to settle down, so I looked into real estate. Though I already had the best house, and the second best was only unlocked by helping out the UC Vanguard, so I thought why not try my hand at the UC one more time. I just hoped that they didn't hold a grudge against the whole UC vigilance thing. Luckily though, they did not, and I was able to save the colonies against a Ridley Scott level alien invasion. Some may not have agreed with my decisions. Alas, I saved the galaxy from terramorphs. So honestly, who cares what they have to say? Next thing I ended up doing was becoming a space cowboy, moving up the ranks from deputy to ranger of the NCR, Freestar. And in between all of that, I helped fish farms go Heisenberg, street gangs eliminate each other, western towns get rid of Ashtas. I helped an old world AI built into a ship feel human and figure out its feelings. I repaired the knockoff Miss Frizzle and found someone singing the sweet sea shanties of space. And I did so much more. Then, I just started living life in the game. I built up some nice homesteads, a few resource farms, and even a huge lodge for all of my companions to kick back at. And then, we get to Consolation. See, I'm barely even halfway through the Consolation missions, and I'm not even close to becoming Starborn. And I don't even know what to expect there, as some people say it completely alters the game, and some people say there's no change at all. Not to mention, I still have so many more planets to see, and so many more people to help. Wait, quick interjection here. I lied, kind of. While writing and recording that part of the script, I had not become Starborn. Though after playing a little further and not releasing this video yet, but I have finally reached the first temple, gaining that title of Starborn. Now, if you don't want spoilers, I'm gonna say now, cover your ears. But I will say that sure, the game does change with becoming Starborn, being able to use superpowers and such, defeating guardians for quantum essence, such and so and such. Though, I have to say that I have not found that it changes the game that much, and in the ways that so many people have told me before. Aside from all of that though, a lot of you have also told me to look out for New Game Plus, which I have not seen yet, and I will have to share my thoughts on whenever that time comes. Now though, I want to move on to the last part of this video, something I did not even expect to actually add into the video, but now I want to talk about the past couple of updates Starfield has seen in the past month or two. Okay, so this part of the script was also written and recorded a couple of days after the rest of the video, but as Starfield continues to get updated, I admit that I see improvements left and right, and I thought I should include a little section about that in this video as well. So yeah, as I said, there have actually been a couple of great updates that we've received in the past couple weeks. I would say even fixing a few of the biggest issues I've had with the game. Now, there weren't any additions of content, such as outfits and weapons, but I would say that the updates fixed a bunch of things, making the game wildly more playable for me. Obviously, as updates usually do, there were a ton of performance improvements, and I mean a ton. After getting to that 100 hours, I decided to take a break, actually waiting for the release of DLSS. Along with working on my most recent Remedy Connection video. Returning to the game a couple of weeks later, things instantly felt better. I loaded my game, having been in New Atlantis, and the first thing I noticed was a lack of blurriness. Obviously that is not a bad thing, but I mentioned in my past Starfield videos that I thought even with everything on Ultra and the 100% resolution scale, that the upscaling caused the game to be a bit blurry. Though I'll be honest, things were looking pretty good. And then after looking into the patch notes, it seems that even Bethesda knew that the game was looking fuzzy with FSR, and they did a pretty good job getting things looking nice and sharp while still running smooth. And on the side of things running smooth, I have to admit, I can tell for a fact that the game runs a whole hell of a lot better. Really, I noticed about a 10 to 20 frame increase in most areas, and I have not upgraded anything on my PC. I think also the reason the game felt extraordinarily smoother though was the improvement of the 1% lows. Whatever it may be though, the game was so much smoother, along with just being so much more stable for me anyways. I mean, overall, yeah, I've definitely seen less crashing and freezing in Starfield compared to other Bethesda titles, but that does not mean I've not seen any. As another thing I've talked about before, I found my fair share of bugs and crashing in this game. And I know a good amount of you have voiced your experience in the comments of my last Starfield video, letting me know that a whole lot of you have not experienced many bugs and crashes at all, but I really cannot say the same. Although after these couple updates, I have noticed that I have not experienced one crash, my companions don't get stuck in walls and boxes anymore, though ships do still have some weird wonky space physics around stations. But that was another thing that the patch notes mentioned, and that I could totally notice. And on to the final thing from the updates that was an absolute game changer for me, and that was obviously the FOV slider being added to the settings. And yes, I know that the FOV slider was added mostly for those with widescreen monitors, and I don't have a widescreen monitor, though I always feel like everything is full on touching my nose, and for a PC game, field of view customization is absolutely needed. I also have to say that they did really well on it, as on some games the FOV balance is set sort of strange, where raising it causes everything but your weapons and hands to be affected. Though Bethesda gave us an actually useful and really good FOV slider, making the game much more bearable on my eyes. And with all of those little changes, I will say that the contents in the game may not have changed in any way, but the game sessions for me are running on a lot longer, and the improvements to performance are well appreciated. And along with that, I still can't wait for DLSS to see if I can squeeze even a little bit more performance in. But really, that was my first 100 hours in Starfield. And yes, only my first. And now that we're here, I'm gonna wrap this video up with some final thoughts. I know I may not have enjoyed my first couple hours, though I didn't see the game in its full potential. I will say now though, after what felt like a short 100 hours, I'm absolutely loving Starfield, and I think that most people fell in love with the game well before their first 100 hours. I also bet that this is one of those games that most people will end up getting well over that amount of time in the long run. And to those who don't actually like the game, that's okay too. Everyone has their own tastes, and who am I to say anything? But really, I said my piece, and I won't make this any longer than it needs to be. So I will end everything off with this. I have been loving the game, and though I've already put 100 hours into Starfield, I plan to put oh so many more. Oh, and yeah, I haven't even gotten to the mods yet, so I will just have to watch out for that. But yeah, as I said, that is about all I have to say about that. So totally let me know any thoughts you had on this video, Starfield, or just me in general in the comments down below. And if you liked this video, don't forget to hit it with a like, and if you want to see more, be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all the new vids coming out. Along with that, if you're looking to support the channel any more than you find people already do, then check out a membership to either my YouTube or my Patreon now for your name at the end of every video, along with some other perks. But don't feel pressured, as you find people already do plenty. And lastly, if you heard any music that you enjoyed and you want to hear more, check out BillyTheWhip.com or just Billy the Whip on any music platform to find all of my jams and something new to listen to. And now that we're here, thank you all so much for all of the support, and I hope you all have an absolutely amazing day.
Billy the boogeyman coming for you. Look out for the pigs, look out for me too. Been chewing them up, spitting the new, spitting the bones, pushing the noose, squeezing the game. Been making that juice, no need for the pulp. I'm spitting that too, rip it through anyone jumping through hoops. It's emergency, man, sending the truth.